There are tons of business podcasts to choose from, but only one has the stamp of approval. Kristin Stampini is South Florida's leading real estate entrepreneur and your trusted source for everything real estate.
Good afternoon. I would like to welcome my listeners and thank you for joining us today for another episode of my podcast, The Stamp of Approval. I'm Kristin Stampini, co-founder of the Stampini Platinum Real Estate Group with RE/MAX in Boca Raton, Florida. I'm also a certified real estate coach with Craig Proctor Systems and the owner of Global Virtual Real Estate Assistants. You may have heard us on the radio. I'm a real estate investor, a national trainer, and public speaker, and a certified inside sales agent trainer. So the Stamp of Approval podcast was launched just a couple months ago, and it's really to share and educate other realtors, consumers, and other business owners across North America by sharing value and content with every single episode that I have. So today, one of my very bestest friends of all time, since I've moved here to Florida, is Michele Bellisari. Now, basically, Michele goes way back from when I first got my real estate license. Yep. She saw me actually go through all my struggles, you know, and we'll get into that when we talk about my story.
Has more colored highlighters than anyone I know.
So today with Michele is going, because she's, you know, one of my besties and, you know, really knows me well, and she knows the real estate industry really well. And she is, you know, your social so boca.
Hashtag so boca.
Hashtag so boca. So anyways, Michelle's going to interview me today really about assistants and, you know, when to hire an assistant as a realtor or even as a business owner.
Yeah.
So, okay, Michele, I'm going to go ahead and leave it up to you. Thank you for
Kristin.
joining me.
Are you kidding? Thank you. This is an honor to be here and to be on this stamp of approval.
Oh, I thank you.
I love it. I love it. I think it's great. And your podcasts are fantastic, by the way, on iTunes and everywhere you can find good podcasts. So
That's
there
right.
you go. I have it downloaded on my phone. So I've known Kristin for a long time now. Here's a fun fact about Kristin and I. Kristin, who's your favorite football team?
Go Blue! Michigan Wolverines, Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Oh, gosh. And who is mine? One of mine.
Boo! Ohio State University. The Ohio State University.
Ohio State University. So here you go. You got opposite ends of the spectrum, but in the Big Ten. So there you go. So see, there's that collaboration.
Yeah, collaboration.
So I am so happy that you asked me to interview you today because I do know a lot about your journey and your path as a realtor, as a businesswoman, as a wife, a daughter, and a good friend. So I'm very honored that we are having this conversation today and that we're going to be talking a little bit about how you got started in real estate and some of the aspects that you layered your business with that sometimes real estate agents don't think about or they think are too expensive for them to try. Yeah. So are you ready?
I am. So basically when I started, you know, I've been in real estate for about 10 years.
Yeah.
And, you know, when I started the business, I didn't have any money. Okay. And, you know, I talk a lot about why I started the podcast and everything. And so I started with no money, had just moved down to Florida, you know, before that, didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. Actually was waiting tables at Houston's restaurant.
Right.
In Pompano Beach.
Exactly.
And I didn't know. And so my mom's like, oh, you know, you should get your real estate license. And I'm like, really?
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to be a salesperson. No way. So I did. But the thing that was, you know, the first thing I had to do is I had to find a niche, right?
Which I love.
Yeah. So I found a niche and I wanted to do something different than anybody else because for so long I ran restaurants and that's what I did for so many years.
Right.
And so when I found my niche, it was in the short sales.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I never thought about growing a team or, you know, doing any of that. All I knew is that I wanted to be my own boss and I wanted to make my own money without having to work under somebody else's hours. And as many of you know, and a lot of you who have been in the real estate industry restaurant industry,
right.
7 days a week, many weeks.
Yeah. It's hard.
You know, 12 hours a day, moving. I mean, I moved 14 times in 10 years.
Right.
You know, so it's just tough.
Well, you were in management positions as well,
That's right.
which a lot of people don't realize, which really lays amazing groundwork to even though you weren't thinking of building a team for down the road when you did start to build your team.
That's right.
So, and you understand the nuances of layering all of the small pieces together so that you have a big outcome.
That's right.
So,
That's right.
There you go.
So, yeah. So I started, and I didn't have any money. So actually I was waiting tables while I started the real estate business, and I started in short sales. So all of a sudden I started to get really busy because no other realtors wanted to do, or not no, but many other realtors didn't want to do them. So I started getting referrals from other realtors.
Yeah.
Okay.
Handle this.
Yeah. Hey, I'll, can you take this from my client, so I can go
Yeah.
do traditional real estate? And here's me saying, of course, sure. Right. So, for the first couple of years, I had to work 2 jobs and just to be able to market and everything else, because I couldn't even afford to pay for things. But then after that, I started to get busy. Okay.
I remember that.
Yeah.
You were busy.
Right. But I still didn't really, I'm putting my money back into the business to
Right.
grow the business. So I need an assistant. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, okay, how am I going to pay for an assistant, first of all?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and I remember when you started doing that, and the assistant thing came up really, really pretty quickly for you
Yeah, it
because you
did.
needed the help.
I did. I needed the help, but I couldn't really afford it.
Nope.
At the same time.
Nope.
So I thought, okay, well, I needed somebody who was educated. And actually, where I first started was at FAU. So I took students, and actually, there was a guy in our office, Sergio, and his son worked for us.
Do you remember that?
Yes.
Yes, I do remember that.
And
yes.
so he just did some graphic design and some little things for us, and kind of like an intern,
Yeah, I
paid
remember
intern.
that. I'd run into him in the hallway.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. But then I needed more than that, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, how can I afford? Because really what I needed was somebody who I was going to pay about $35,000 to $40,000 a year to.
Right.
And there was no way I could afford that. Okay. So I started looking at other options, and it came across of virtual assistants.
Yep.
And I was like, wow, virtual assistants.
Yeah.
Huh. And the thing I liked is, there were so many opportunities with virtual assistants, and they were reasonable priced.
Yeah.
Plus, the virtual assistants were at like where I could get something and I could pay less money, and really for $35,000 to $40,000 a year, I could get it for $18,000. A year.
Exactly.
And, I didn't have to, there was a lot of benefits to it. So what my virtual assistants basically, then I had to think, what can they do? What can a virtual assistant do?
Right.
And that's really what you ask the question of.
Yeah.
What can they do for you? Well, boy, in real estate, they can do so much for you that you don't even realize. The only thing a virtual assistant can't do is direct mail. Writing envelopes for you.
Exactly.
Right? They can't be the person in the room making copies. They can't be doing all the things that you need to physically be in an office.
Right.
But they can help you with listing management, running your database, social media platforms, websites,
Exactly.
tracking platforms.
Yep.
They can do Facebook marketing, Craigslist marketing. They can actually even help you recruit.
Yep.
They can run ads for you. They can do implementation of your business. And
So they can basically do anything that you really need them to do virtually, as long as it isn't, like you said, some of these physical aspects, which you can get someone else to do that. And just think about the things you don't want to do.
that's right.
That's really it.
It is.
That's not a good use of your time.
So you know what you do is you go and you say, okay, I'm getting, people say, so what should I hire first? And when should I hire an assistant? Right?
Yeah.
And the first thing you do is, when are you overwhelmed and not being able to service the clients at the level they need to be serviced, or
Exactly.
service the customers, right?
Exactly.
Then what you do is you go down and you sit down for a week, every hour of your day, and you start writing down every single thing that you do.
Did
Okay?
you guys catch that? You write down everything that you're doing
For a week.
For a week. There
Yeah.
you go.
To the listeners, every single thing that you're doing. A lot of the things that we're doing is we're calling for agent feedback, right?
Right.
We're inputting things into the MLS, okay? We are editing pictures. We're creating flyers. We're doing graphic design, okay? We're working on websites and coming soon, and we're doing open houses.
Right.
Okay, I'm talking about marketing for open houses. We're doing other things such as calling to show different listings. That takes a lot of time.
It takes a lot of time.
Okay.
Calling back,
Yeah.
waiting for messages, going for the text messages, setting up your day.
Right.
Yeah.
And so when you're looking at your day, what are the things as a team leader, even if it's just you right now, but you're
Right.
starting to get busy, what is your job as a team leader? And really what it is, go on appointments. Okay? Call back, make appointments. Those are the things that you should be doing.
Exactly.
Working on the transaction, showing property. Those are the things that you should be doing. It's not the administrative things. And so many team leaders are doing 75% of their day is actually doing the administrative work.
Exactly. And it's mind-boggling.
It really is.
Takes you away from things.
Well, and as we say, as a realtor, you juggle about 100 things at once, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's 100 things to do in your day to really be able to do the, 48 transactions, 4 transactions. The average realtor makes after 2 years like $20,000 a year.
But that's so scary.
It is scary. It is scary. And so many get out of the business. But the thing is they don't have to.
Yeah.
But because they are trying to do everything themselves,
They burn out.
they do. They burn out.
They burn out.
They burn out.
Been there, burned
Yeah.
out. I think we've all been burned out. This is kind of a dirty little secret, I think, in our industry. Don't you agree that realtors burn out because they're overwhelmed with the tasks
That's right.
that they need to hire out?
And they don't know how.
Right.
Okay, so the thing is and that's really where it came with me
Yeah.
is I didn't know how. So I heard somebody, tell me, hey, figure out in your day, what are you doing that you shouldn't be? So I did that, and I did it for a week, and the other thing is you're working around the clock all the time.
Yeah.
And that's not the best use of your time either, because you're not refreshed to be able to work and give the clients and the and give people your best.
Exactly. You want to have joy with your business and wake up every day like, Jerry Maguire, you wake up every day and you're happy to be at work. And, when you're doing all these little tasks, it's mentally draining.
And the thing is these are things that you shouldn't be doing.
Right.
Okay? I mean, for us, for example, on a listing, so for a listing itself, we have 110 things we do for every listing. 110.
Oh, God.
So as a realtor, I would be doing those things myself.
Right.
Okay, because it's a plan. And we have a plan for every listing.
Right.
With 110 steps in the plan.
Yeah.
So the virtual assistants can do so much of that. Okay.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
Yeah.
But so I have a question for you.
Sure.
So here's the thing. I remember talking to you several years ago about getting a VA, and you had some great advice on like when should you hire your first virtual assistant. So why don't you tell your audience realistically when is the best time? And yes, you could feel overwhelmed, but could you pre-plan so that in X amount of months that this is when you're going to start hiring someone?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So one of the things you got to figure out is when do you need an assistant? Not even a virtual, in-house, an assistant, period. And that's when you're taking away from your business and your clients because you can't service them at the level you need to. And actually, you're not being able to build your business. Okay, so you're overwhelmed. Your family, you aren't being able to be with your family and things like that. So when that comes is you got to figure out some things that you can take off of your plate. The first thing that agents want to do is they want to go out and they want to hire another agent, okay, to take with the buyers.
Right.
Well, no, you don't want to do that. You want to actually hire an assistant first. And the reason why people do that is because they want to hire another agent because they think it's not cutting into their pocket when actually it's cutting way more into your pocket by hiring another agent.
And why would that be? Because time is money and you got to train everybody.
Yeah. And so the first person that you want to hire is an assistant. So you got to figure out what they need to do. But then you have to put together, how am I going to do that? So if you're going to hire an in-house assistant, anywhere from, usually minimum $12, $15, $17, $18 an hour, plus, everything else on top of that. Okay.
Right.
Is usually an assistant. So if you're getting one, let's say part-time, which most people don't want to work part-time.
No.
Right. So that's not usually happening anyways. Well, the thing I feel the benefit of a virtual assistant is that you can actually have them part-time. Okay, because they're shared, they're shared with somebody else a lot of the time. But then I had to see, how could I train them? And I really didn't know how to train them, right? So I hired a company to do it and to help me. And I had that company for 6 years, that somebody else who did it, for me.
Yep.
And then I figured out, okay, well, now I have to do it. And what was happening is I am a real estate coach, right? Which I told you at the beginning for Craig
Amazing
Proctor.
coach.
And thank you. And so one of the things is that I realized that so many of my coaching members were struggling in the area of implementation and the assistant part. So that's when I said, okay, I can help people, and I can help people grow in their businesses. And that's when I actually created myself. And I just actually talked about it for the first time today on Facebook. I actually launched it just about a year ago. December 1st will be my first people out of training of the virtual assistants.
Amazing.
A year ago. But they were just, it wasn't announced to the public. Okay. But now I'm announcing it to the public. So we have a university ourselves. And I'm not trying to sit here and really promote to you that you need to, I don't care really who you go to, but you got to think about in your business, how can you grow?
How can you scale your business? And Kristin is a master at the scaling of businesses. And she really understands from her perspective of being an active, full-time real estate professional, what pieces you need for your business. So I think a little self-promo is fine because you actually walk the walk and you talk the talk.
Well, thank you. And that's, and really more, because my listeners are people that, a lot of realtors. And I said, I'm going to give you a lot of value and content for each and every episode.
Right.
And that's what I'm really here for today. It's not the self-promo as it is to give the value in the content. What I am here, though, is to realize anybody's business and assistance, because assistance, even virtual or not, it doesn't matter. But the thing is, they can do your contract to close and help you with all the paperwork. Because us as salespeople are usually, that is not our best. We're not usually great at the paperwork, okay, ourselves anyways.
Right.
But somebody else can be happening with those details, so you can be out selling people's homes. Right?
Oh, exactly. Exactly.
So
because that's what we do.
That's right.
Yeah.
So even picking an assistant for yourself to work in, so you can do more. The reason why I'm really just talking about virtual is I don't even think people realize what scaling of virtual assistants can do. I don't even think they realize it. And for such an affordable price, right?
So why don't you talk a little bit about how hiring one virtual assistant in your business, say I'm a solopreneur, let's focus on that because a lot of agents are solopreneurs because they want to grow, they want to have a team maybe, but how could a virtual assistant help the average solopreneur agent out there today?
Well, first of all, they can help you in marketing. So they can help you with Facebook ads. They can help you with Craigslist ads. They can do all flyers. They can do all your marketing for. They can do all your marketing for your new listings. They can do your just sold, your just listed flyers. They can do your email address, your business cards, your signs. Okay. They can also be. One of the biggest things is people's database, right? Because that is and getting back to your clients, putting together systems on how you can put together your past clients. Because guess what? 80% of the people don't go to their realtor because the realtor never kept in touch with them.
Never.
It's because guess what we do? We get busy and then we move on to the next. We get busy, we move on. And we never are touching our database all the time.
Right, exactly.
Okay. They can also get in there and they can help you with, marketing for open houses. And they can help you with, different things that you need to do on different websites that you have.
I love it.
Making sure that your presence on the internet's really good. How about social media? If you think I'm the one who's doing anything on my Facebook page, that's really not happening, right? Or Instagram or anything else. That's all done by virtual assistants.
Right. I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just so many components to having a virtual assistant or a VA, as we like to say, that can help you scale your business and let you do what you do best, which is sell property, and do deals. And
so, the only reason why I went to the virtual is because it was what I could afford. Okay.
Right.
But I got all college educated people and all people that had experience in the real estate industry.
Right.
So really what we're talking about today and what I want the listeners to know is, when do you need an assistant?
Exactly.
Okay. Virtual, in-house, whatever it is.
Help.
When do you need help?
Yep.
Are you building a team? Or are you building a team not because you thought you wanted to build a team, but because you're so busy you need to build a team?
Right, exactly.
So that's what I want. That's what I want everybody to know. So basically, just kind of going back, and what I want you all to do is sit there, and if you are working 7 days a week, 10 or 12 hours a day, think about it.
Yeah. Exactly.
Can you really leverage some of this?
I think absolutely. And I think that's why having this conversation is so good. I know you have this business. I know you're a phenomenal trainer. And the fact is, Kristin's my go-to. If I am talking about scaling or talking about, what do you think about this? She usually has the perfect answer and the perfect advice when it comes to timing and timelining things. And I remember, I want to say it was 2013 or 14. I went to you and I said, when should I get a virtual assistant? She goes, now. And I've had several over the years, and finding what works for my personality and the projects that I have, makes a huge difference when you can give it to someone else to do.
That's right. That's
right.
right.
And some things you don't necessarily always want to hand off. There's certain things, like for me, I like managing my social media because it's so part of
you love it.
piece. And I do love it. And I know how I want certain things to be. That's my little place where
That's right.
I could have someone post for me, but I put the content and all that stuff together. But there are other areas where VA is priceless, the contract to close, the database, like you said, the marketing, there's all these pieces that they can do.
Well, and and one thing is like, we like to call the sellers, okay, and give them the update. But do we need to gather the report for them? Do we need to gather the showings and the feedback?
Right.
Do we need to personally? No, I need to be out selling their house.
Exactly.
Okay, I need to be out there. And so do we need to do all that stuff behind the scenes? Do we need to do dot loop? Okay, no. Do we need to get all that information? So there's so much that can be done. So basically on today's episode for my listeners is, do you need an assistant? And if you do you want an in-house? Do you want a virtual?
Right.
What is the
What's
is the
a good
difference
fit for you?
Right. What is a good fit for you? So start thinking about it. Because as we're approaching 2019 and we're putting our business plans together, it's something that you need to think about. Okay?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. And so anyways, today, that's what I really wanted you guys to get out is, number one, is where are you at in your businesses? Are you growing? Virtual assistant, you hire through, for us, just on our team, we hire and we train and we mentor them.
Exactly.
Okay. But the thing is we look through 100 resumes before we even hire one. Okay. We have 3 hours of testing. We have so much craziness. And then we have, they do 3 weeks of training before. Yeah. So it's, and
so someone, let me just make sure that the listeners understand this. So your company, you actually train the virtual assistants for the agents. And before they ever touch anything, get involved with anything, they've got their training, they've got the stamp of approval training, and basically all of the experience, the nuts and bolts of what how to do it, they get that, and then they're working with the real estate agent. And what happens once a VA is working with an agent and through you? Yeah.
So basically what happens after that is we still help in the back end a lot, but the realtor is their manager. Okay. They oversee them. And then the back, I'm still training. I do training every couple months.
Right.
And I also help the team leader, because that's a lot of the time. The team leader doesn't really have experience in managing and doesn't even know how to start.
Right.
So I'm always helping them in the back end, and we're having, different trainings and things like that. But again, do you want an in-house? Do you want a virtual? What do you want? But look into it. Look into yourself on what is the best fit for you as, as a realtor.
Well, I also want to point out something you said, 2 things. One, it doesn't have to be expensive. You can start off in many cases with a certain amount of hours every week as you're building your team. Look, not everybody has a lot of money, and sometimes you have to start a little smaller, and then you grow, and then
my first one was part-time, 20 hours a week.
Exactly.
And people say, okay, what can they do in 20 hours a week?
A
Oh
lot.
my gosh, a lot. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
So, and that was costing me, in $700-800 a month. But that was huge.
Because think about how much people spend on coffee.
Yeah. Well, and the
coffee.
and the other thing is that 20 hours freed me up so I could go sell. Okay, that was the big thing. So
Exactly.
I was closing. I mean, at one time, I was closing 60 transactions by myself a year.
I remember that.
And how was it? Because of this.
Yeah.
This is the reason
There you
why.
go. That's it. Boom.
So anyways, thank you to our listeners today and the realtors and, the consumers know that we're out, really trying to work and to sell their home and everything else. And thank you, my friend Michele.
Oh, so much fun doing this. I love being able to interview you. This is like so much fun. But Kristin is such a wealth of knowledge, and I admire, what she's done with her business, and her acumen with business is like, she's my go-to when I, have specific questions, and I trust what she says to me is always in my best interest. And I think that's, I've always said this, that you are a heart, felt real estate agent who likes to give back and loves to overshare, which is a good thing. But the VA piece, guys, is so, so important to your business. And I mean, we've got less than 60 days till the end of the year. Think about it, reach out to Kristin and, talk to her about how to implement this so that January 1, well, let's say December 23rd, you've got all your ducks in a row to hit the ground running for 2019, which is crazy.
And again, have a plan. And again, if it's an in-house assistant or whatever else, free yourself up so you can do more business. And Michele, thank you. Our listeners, thank you, thank you, thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Okay.
This was fun.
Yeah.
Have a good one, guys.
Okay, bye.
Bye.